Hey, welcome back. I'm Chris, and you're watching or listening to EnterVR. Today, we're speaking with Sacha LeBaron, my good friend, and we're going to be talking about everything regarding community, marketing, that intersects so much about what it means to build metaverse, virtual reality spaces. So, Sasha, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's been a minute.
You can only shake.
Welcome back.
I know, and you can only shake hands in VR nowadays. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
like a Black Mirror episode, coming to fruition in front of us. So tell me a bit about your work at Somnium Space, where we are at right now.
Well, first of all, welcome to my home.
Yeah.
This is my property that I purchased early on in the crowdfunding. We are an open VR sandbox world based on the blockchain. So we're running on the Ethereum blockchain. Each of these parcels, any of the buildings you can see in the back, these are all built by users or groups, and each building is built on a parcel, and each parcel is a token on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's real ownership. The management of the company has no control over the ownership of these properties. They can be bought and sold just like in real, in daily life.
Wow, that is that's super futuristic. That's so 2030. So it feels like a concept of which the world needs a bit catching up to. Like, do you have that feeling that you're ahead, sort of in the future already? Like you're quite ahead of yourselves, or do you feel like this is like the right moment? It's just cultivating it now, giving it a shot, and building up towards that, mass scale sort of place.
So I don't know which science fiction books you've read to get you hyped about the metaverse and about VR in general. I started with Neuromancer, among others, and in there was this strange intersection between the future tech of jacking in to the metaverse, to the grid with your headset, but at the same time it was totally dystopic, and there was like guys with piles of old computers, and they were rooting around to get some transistor to the headset work. And in a way it kind of feels like that right now, because here we are, you're in one side of the earth, I'm in another side of the earth. I can see you. My brain accepts this completely as a place that I am, because I am here. I'm digitally here. This is my property. I own it. I can sell it. These properties all here. We did around $5 million in virtual real estate last year, including some single transactions of over 250,000 US on a single transaction. So to me, that's the future. But again, you look around, there's people here, and we are one giant instance. So you may not even see somebody because they're over in those buildings or up on the mountain or who knows where. But I'm consistently surprised that we're not seeing more users, considering the lockdown conditions. And I just I'm just really excited about the future, because I think we are maybe just a hair early, but I think the world is catching up. I saw one on Yahoo Finance this morning quoting this project, quoting some other project, and saying, hey, if you're not in these spaces now, you're missing.
So tell me a bit more about what sets Somnium Space apart from all the other social VR communities out there. For one, there's heavy emphasis on sort of owning your own real estate through cryptocurrency, and there's this emphasis on being its own space to one single space. Tell me more about what other things you guys are doing to set yourselves apart from other places.
I think it's really based on the utility factor, the fact that we have people coming in here. I'll give you one example. Did you attend any of the virtual Burning Man stuff this year?
I did, but yeah, it's so fleeting, and I it probably wasn't in
Yeah,
Somnium. It was other spots whether I Alt Space had a Burning
yeah.
Man event.
They had a little playa going, and
Yeah.
it was, so people were bouncing around and checking this out, and this was big news that there was no Burning Man. It was going online and digital. So we did a big. You saw it down back by the main square. There's these beautiful three-dimensional non-fungible tokens. So for anybody who doesn't know, a non-fungible token is um, an item that can be transferred. This particular avatar could be tokenized on our platform and then sold. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sell myself, but wait a minute, maybe I should. But it can be sold to another user. So uh, we had this Burning Man experience come sort of suddenly out of nowhere, and so we had a creator who's an event venue creator. This is what he does in real life, and he was out of work, locked down. He's from Belgium. He's like, hey, can I rent some properties? And lots of us have extra properties because we believe in the platform. And so, sure, no problem. And it's simple, easy. You open up the client, say, what's your address, Chris? Let's put it in there. Boom. Okay, you're renting the property. Now you can build your thing on it and monetize it or do whatever.
Hmm.
So he grabbed a ton of properties. He built up amazing venues for the Burning Man week. Tons of people came, live DJs, etc. And at the end, and he was selling his art. So he was selling NFT art, non-fungible token art. So you'll see some pieces around here and in other builds. You click on it, people bought. At the end of that week, he had accumulated enough Ethereum to buy his own parcel. He then learned how to start building avatars. He started selling avatars. He's completely this is his life, his job now. I mean, he's bootstrapped himself from nothing to a full-time job in Somnium. And that's utility, and that's what we're basing our whole scene on. There will be lots of free stuff. It's always going to be free, no charge to get in. And there's going to be tons of more and more things to do that are free. But the overall ability for users like yourself, myself, to actually make money and survive here and make the platform sufficient, that's focusing on.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I feel like, for some reason with the music playing in the background and listening to you speak about this Burning Man artist and their success, I feel like this is a talk at Burning Man, and there's a literal playa, beach in front of us. So tell me a bit more about your lessons and what has worked in the realm of community building so far. What are you learning works? What are you learning that you can share with the people watching or listening? Like, what do you think is something that you tried and you're probably gonna iterate on or keep improving? So yeah, teach me some lessons in community building.
Yeah, I'd love. I mean, you understand community and have done that in your own life, so you know some of the basic stuff. Community is for me, it's about a feeling. It's a place, and to me, because you look around here in the background, the mountains, the buildings, the water, everything is an actual asset that's actually here in the world. It's not a skybox. It's not a painted backdrop. So the first time when I spawned in and I walked across and I climbed up one of the mountains and I turned around just like you're turning around now, and I looked back and I was like, whoa, this place is got something. I don't know what it is, special sauce of a feeling of size. So feelings, why do you buy anything? You don't buy a toothbrush, because you think this toothbrush is the best. You buy it because you want the feeling of clean teeth or the result of clean teeth. So what we want here is people to have amazing feelings about this virtual space, which inhabits a place inside your mind that's as real as any other memory that you have. So that I base my community building around that. And so to that end, we use Discord almost exclusively for our customer contact or reaching out and receiving feedback. We have a canny board as well, so people can put their feedback in, and those feedbacks, as they get voted up, then they go into the development stream. And so that iteration and that feedback from community to development to a product release back in, that continuous iteration. So, every VR world at this point is a whip. It's a work in progress. I haven't seen one that is complete yet. You and I know this. We're Metaverse citizens. We know all of them have their strengths and weaknesses, and I believe that in the long run, it has to be like this. It has to be 1-to-1, 1-to-1, or 1-to-10. Come with me on a tour. Let's talk. Let's have some feelings. And once you've generated feelings, the rest is easy, because you're like, yeah, I want those feelings again. So I come back. And like me, I've been coming back here now for years. And when I come in on a quiet night, the moon rising, the snow falling, it's just like, it's just like the weight comes off, because whatever, VR is so good for single tasking. I'm here. This is all I get right now. I don't have to deal with anything else. It's like a little mini vacation. So that's why I'm here, and that's how I sort of approach my community building.
How do you view your relationship to users, and how do you view your relationship to the dev team? And how do you become a better conduit between these forces that are, again, in an ideal scenario, there's a dialectic going on, so that users point out issues or places to improve, and then the devs are maximizing their time to iterate on those things. So so where do you see yourself in your relationship to both?
I see my role mostly as a welcoming person, a person of like open arms. Come on in, bring your stuff. You're a MAGA person. You're a Rastafarian, whatever. Come on, we're in VR now. Let's try some new things. Let's work together. I try and welcome. We have a policy. It's sort of an unwritten policy, but as best as we can, if humanly possible, every single person that comes onto our Discord gets a personal person. One of us, a community member, says, "Hey Puma, welcome to the Discord. Any questions? Hit us up." So, most people ignore it, but some people are just like, "Whoa, that never happens." And so then we say, "Okay, hey, we do a meetup every single day." And who's there almost every single time? The CEO, the founder. He's there. He's in the world. He started in Ultima Online, Second Life, some of these original early multiplayers, massive multiplayer worlds, and he literally kind of woke up from a dream with this concept in his head and it wouldn't let him go. It kind of bit him and grabbed him, and so he's been working on it. And he's he's a founder of the business, but he's also a pioneer here in the world, and he's on the Discord constantly, and he's in here almost every single day. So that we have direct lines of communication, not through even me. I don't mediate very much at all, because our founder is completely engaged with the platform and the community.
And so, and this is a struggle, I feel like, or it's definitely a struggle and a challenge with this new brave and wild frontier of the metaverse, wherein, we do want to be welcoming, we do want to make sure we're as inclusive as possible, but at the same time, where do you personally, or where does your team draw the line, your organization draw the line between the different extremes of people that can be? Like, at some point, you're so far to the right, you're so far to the left, that at some point you're denying the genocide of 11 million people, Jewish citizens, or at the other end, you're planning workshops to build pipe bombs to kill politicians. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, at some point, obviously there's reasonable conservatives, there's reasonable liberals, but humans are so finicky. They're so weird in that way, that you kind of it's always hard to know, and it always feels like it's a moving target. So tell me more about, sort of what are your, where are your sort of line to draw? Because it's not like, for example, I can't if I wanted to, I can't start a workshop here in Somnium Space on how to build pipe bombs. You guys would kick me out, right? So where do you draw the line?
So, I mean, I think it's, like you say, it is a moving target to a certain degree. And we have multiple levels of, sort of feedback for the users. So somebody drops into the Discord and they start, in the first few seconds, they start direct messaging established people on the Discord saying, hey, buy my Ethereum thingy. It's awesome. Join my server, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get a quick chat, but, chill. Put it in off topics. If people are interested, they'll contact you. If they don't stop, got to go. So, that's kind of a community level engagement of maintaining the focus, because we're focused around this project. This is why your Discord exists. So come and focus on this. And once you're in the world, if you want to bring somebody in and talk about whatever you want, go ahead. That's why we're here. It's social. So then we get up into the next level, which is in world. And if somebody, reses in as a giant penis and, and is headbutting all the other avatars, clearly that's not comfortable for a lot of our users. There's certain places in VR chat where that sort of thing is, or other platforms where that's completely acceptable because of the culture, community culture. Our community culture is mostly crypto, mostly artists, mostly probably a little bit skewed to the older demographic. Some of the youngers and the millennials and the, the rec room kiddies, they might go, what's the point of this? I don't like art. This is dumb. I'm out. Well, sure, we have paintball too. If you want to shoot people with paintball guns, go ahead. You want to go climbing buildings, we're going to have that very soon, etc. So, but in that second tier of what's happening here in world, sort of avatar to avatar, the thought that we've put to it is mods are going to get a jail gun, pop, you go to jail for an X amount of time. Your headset physically gets teleported to a jail. It's over by you might have seen it. It's that red pyramid down by downtown. You're in the jail. Now, while you're in jail, everyone can come by and hang out and chat with you. So if you want to do like the troll stuff and like, hey, look at me, I'm a jerk. Look at me, I'm doing funny stuff in VR. Great, go do it in the jail. And hey, if you're posting on social media and making memes while you're in jail, we'll let you out a little earlier. Hopefully you'll learn something. Maybe not. If not, boom. Eventually you're going to get kicked just because you get too many strikes. And clearly anything illegal, immoral, fattening, etc. Sorry, can't happen. We got a terms of service just like everybody else.
Yeah, the jail aspect of that is quite new and refreshing. And I'm curious to know more about the implementation and how did you guys come up with the idea of using a jail? That's so interesting. Let's dig deeper into that.
Yeah, virtual reality in general gives all of us, everybody watching, anyone who's developing, who's experimenting, it gives us a place to try stuff. Now, in the past days, we had public shaming in the public square. If you did something bad, is kind of bad, or against the community charter, so to speak, you might get the constabulary come bring you and put you in the village square, put your hands in the thing, put your head, you'd be stuck there for a day, and the rest of the village could come and throw rotten fruit at you or whatever. It was pretty clear you had screwed up, crossed the line, boom. So we thought, well, why not update that a little bit and make it a little more fun and make it shareable and make it sort of memeable and make it a little bit more memorable. So if you've done some whatever, you're harassing another user, the other user pings me as a mod, says, hey, I'm over on parcel such and such, I've got a person here who's being a complete jerk, can you help me out? I've told them to get lost, I've muted and banned and whatever, and they're still here. So boom, I res in, I come across, the guy sees me, the perp sees me coming, sees the little mod thing on my head, it's like, he's off running, I'm running after him, I've got my little jail gun, bing bing bing, pew pew pew, and eventually, so it becomes this kind of theater event. And of course I could just go onto my mod panel, be like, user X gone, but it's more interesting for the platform and for shareability and for the community and for a sense of immersion that we actually have a little cat and mouse. I get them, mods are going to be obviously able to run a little bit faster. So boom, I get him, bang, he's in jail. I go and talk to the person, say, hey, the guy's in jail now. You want to go chat with him, tell him your story or not or whatever. He's over there. If the person sticks in jail, they physically sit with their headset in that jail for 5 hours before they're allowed out. They might bounce from the platform because why would you want to stay? Or they might go, that sucked. I won't do that again. Or they might say, wow, that was funny. I'm going to go do that twice as hard and see if I can stay in jail for a month. But either way, we get some kind of traction, traction on the platform.
Oh, interesting. So if the more they do it, the longer they'll spend in there. So it becomes a diminishing returns. They're just like, this isn't fun. I'm not getting anything out of it. Okay.
When you're stuck in there for literally 5 days, and we're talking like actual days, you can't. If you take your headset off, when you put it back on, you'll be back. If you restart the client, you'll be back. Everything, you're going to be back. There's a timer. Every user is a unique user. There'll be a timer that's ticking on the server that says you have to be in this location for 5 days, and that's going to be harsh. But here's where it gets interesting. What if you're like a clown kind of person, a joker kind of person, maybe an ADHD, Ugandan Knuckles fan or whatever? So you res in with a crazy avatar, harassing people, film yourself getting sent to jail, and then you tell all your buddies on your social network because you can pull up your tablet and talk to them. So you've got your tablet here in the world. On that tablet, if you pull up your tablet, I think the screen might be able to see it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can launch a website. So I can be on Twitter on my tablet in the game, running my clock down, tweeting and taking pictures of my buddy who's also a troll, who's also in jail. So it kind of becomes quite meta. And that's what we were trying to do, is just make it fun, but still make one. And then, illegal, can't do illegal. Can't do, and then like you were saying on the left-right spectrum thing, humans are just, like you said, we're messed up, we're messy, and we're, and so, but people want to be around people that are like them. So this group here tends to be crypto-centric, artistic, creatives. We want to build, like I built all this, built this thing, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that process. So generally, I think we're going to get relatively good self-selection. And then if we go a little bit further out, pretty soon I'm going to get boundary control on this parcel. And I can restrict it down to only people of X. You'll see this, there's a little number above my head. It should be a 0.
Yeah.
That is going to represent my reputation score, my karma level, whatever you want to call it. So do I own property? Do I help people? Am I on the Discord? Do I spend an hour a week in the platform? The secret sauce will push that number up. The higher that number, the more trustworthy the person is to another user. And so we've got sort of trust levels, and so it all works together. I'll be able to restrict this down to only friends, or only trust level X, or only people over 19 years old. We believe in a full open metaverse. If you want to do age appropriate content on your own parcel, don't advertise it on the outside. Restrict your parcel down to people of the appropriate age for that content. Bring them in, do whatever you want. It's your parcel, you can do it.
That sounds super cool. I'm wondering a little. Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. For example, if I am walking down somewhere and I'm lost, I'm looking for a particular museum, and I ask you for directions, would I, as a user, be able to grant you a karma points that because you're helpful to me, or is this something the algorithm, your platform does in the background? Because then you would have sort of this interesting incentive-based economy to do good for each other.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm wondering how you guys are working that out.
So obviously, as it says 0 for you and 0 for me, it's not an implemented feature yet.
Mm-hmm.
People come in here and they're like, well, I looked at my tablet and all this stuff doesn't work. And it's like, yes, it's coming. We try and do a release. Like, for example, this week we did a release on the WebVR client. So every single parcel, every one of these buildings you can see here is also available to any browser-enabled device, iPhone, tablet, Gear VR, whatever. cardboard and your phone, PC, Mac, Linux can load any of these parcels as a standalone instance and do voice communication and do a private meeting with a restricted, a restricted instance only for 2 people. And it loads in a few seconds. So we've got that. Excuse me. But at the same time, we also recognize that the input from the users, as I said before, in our iterative process where we have user feedback, roll out an update, roll out an update. So this WebVR was our latest update, but as users do things, suggest things like you just said, hey, what about? And I know it's been suggested before, so I believe that you're right, that positive user interaction will count towards your reputation score, to your karma. It won't be all of it, but it will be part of it.
Oh, wow, that's super interesting. Going back to something you mentioned earlier about being able to moderate the community in here, it's from my experience, it feels like when you're doing community management work, person to person, that real life human interaction, it has a huge impact when there's a real human being that cares, that is there for you, that sort of walks you through the experience and makes it better for you. But at some point you're going to have a problem, and I think you look forward to this problem where the community is going to be too big for one community manager to manage on sort of this one-to-one scale. So, what sort of what works around are you envisioning or tools you're envisioning you'll have to, again, be as as one-to-one as possible, but also as efficient as possible?
So currently I am a community manager, one of the first that was brought on, but we have at least 5. There's a crypto-centered community manager, there's a dev community manager. Like, we have community managers who are sort of specializing in each specific area, and so and we try to roll them across time zones. So there's always somebody on the Discord who can pop up and usually answer a question quickly. We also encourage through various community building efforts. We will do some treasure hunts, and we'll give out a few, some in-game currency, et cetera, to try and keep the community engaged within itself and talking within itself. And so after a while, the rock stars, I don't know what's the right word, super users will come floating to the top, and they just start taking on some of the roles of community managing and saying, hey, when a person comes in, how do I get my Quest 2 to work in this game? Well, we're building a standalone version that's coming, but right now you need to do it by virtual desktop or by link cable, and here are the 2 tutorials, and this is how you can do it. And oh, by the way, we've got a YouTube channel. And so same standard, same scaling techniques as everyone else is trying to use. You try and create a tutorial, an explainer video, a document, and then empower the whole community to drive traffic or drive questions to that document. If somebody can't deal with that, come to me. And surprisingly, I've had some most very, very interesting and amazing connections by literally just a question came in and I'm like, hey, do you want to go on a voice chat? Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, whoa, I'm dealing with some startup founder of a DeFi company in San Francisco, and he's got this, and I can help him, and now he's talking to me, and we're going to do a show on DeFi and how does that work, and and one on virtual fashion coming up soon from a crypto virtual fashion startup, and all just because of being engaged in that community and taking the one-on-one.
Yeah, DeFi is decentralized finance, just for anybody out there. And I mean, this is I feel like what you guys are building here seems to be a very it's sort of I guess, I don't know if the word is uncanny, but it's just like there's a sense of realism, there's a sense of like one-to-one degree of, because you have an economy here, and it's like and there's this like there's limitations. For example, I can't yet, I don't know if you're gonna do it, but teleport from one end to the other instantly, like wherever I want. Like, I'm sure it's probably something you'll do eventually, but there is this sort of sense of like the realism to the overall, I don't know, economic structure of this place. And I'm wondering more about the governance aspect of this. At some point, you're going to have people, and I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of mayor of a particular plot of land, or there's some sort of, or there's going to be some sort of elected council of super users and they run for elections. And you use blockchain again, because it feels like blockchain to me is more than just economic purposes. I think there's this like a whole sense of I have the sense that there's this underlying future of human organization. How we organize each other can also be empowered by blockchain. So is that something that you guys are thinking about exploring? Again, governance through blockchain, democracy through blockchain, or are you just hyper focused on making sure you have a really good economy and people enjoy that experience?
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it was recently noted on our Discord that in the first several months of allowing a limited beta release of the ability to mint, and mint means create a token and then launch it onto the blockchain. You have to pay a certain fee to get it onto the blockchain. Once it's there, then it's a token. This is for your listeners that can go back and forth between other users, other wallets. So 85,000 real US dollars has already transacted in custom avatars. Now VR chat and other platforms are much more sort of freestyle on their avatars. Click and go. I want to change. I've got 20 avatars. I can switch them as fast as I want. We are going to soon have the ability to change avatars in game. And if you like yourself, some basic Unity, you can whip up an avatar that looks awesome, that does craziness with particles and emitters and bones and blah blah blah, and do it yourself. It only costs you 32 hours of your time. Or you can go onto the blockchain and buy one if you like one there. And so that economy is baked in. It's coming. And then you tie that into governance, and you look at I want to touch briefly. Sorry, I'm just going to sidetrack to teleporters.
Mm-hmm.
So teleporters are also a keystone of the foundation of this world. It's a big place. 5K by 5K takes, if you're walking only, takes almost 20 minutes to go side to side. And it takes something like 4 hours to walk the perimeter if you do the whole perimeter just straight along the boundary. And then if you go up on one of the mountains and glide out to the edge, some of our people, our more intrepid types, have gone a long ways. Anyway, so you can soon will be able to deploy a teleporter, and the teleporter is an NFT as well. It's a tokenized object. I, for example, have this place. I want this to be a restaurant or a who knows what, some kind of thing that I think people are going to want to see. So I put a teleporter here. I happen to own one, so I put one over here. Then there will be company-owned ones at central points, like one on top of the floating island, one at the main waypoint, probably a few spread around the world. In the main districts, we have an art district, a disco / sort of club district. Those are already sort of organically developing based on who's there and building. And so then each time you go onto the teleporter, you could walk. You can get out at the spawn point and walk straight to there. It takes you 7 or 8 minutes of walking. Enjoy the walk, have some friends. Or you can jump the teleporter, be there, and it'll cost you some very small amount of your in-game currency. Now, wait a minute. You can also make in-game currency by doing things in the world. This is also coming. So there will be a microeconomy as well. And then, but wait a minute, I'm just a free user. I don't have any money. Oh, well, no, my friend, no problem. click here to view a small ad, then go for free, right? So it's not intrusive. It's still giving revenue back into the platform because the ad companies are paying for placements, but the user's saying, yes, I want to see it, I'm choosing to see it, I'm engaging with it, and then I'm going to go, and hopefully it'll be content that's relevant. And then governance will be, there'll be sort of a council structure at first. So we already have one for crypto saying, you know, you've shown yourself to be very active on the Discord. Would you be interested in sitting on this, you know, more like almost like a focus group, working on some concepts, ideas, and then presenting back into the management, which then rolls that into their strategic plan and then comes back with an update and says, hey, how about this? And then it just keeps rolling forward. But I think ultimately we do have to go to blockchain voting and blockchain governance here and in the real world.
Yeah, and that'll be super interesting to see. I guess just coming down to the last couple questions, why the Ethereum blockchain? Why not other blockchains? I think one of my I like Ethereum. Don't get me wrong. I look forward to Ethereum 2.0 in particular, but it seems like there's just thousands of altcoins. There's thousands of upcoming platforms, and you know, Ethereum is not perfect. So I'm curious again, why Ethereum, and do you have plans, or are you thinking about perhaps implementing other blockchains as well, other coins into Somnium? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. So mostly we went with Ethereum because of its track record. It's a huge, I mean, I think it's second to Bitcoin as far as market cap and, you know, penetration, usability, scalability, tons and tons of, you know, apps built on the backbone, you know, the underlying blockchain. So it was just, there wasn't consideration put in, and they just said, let's go with, it would be like going with, how do I say this? It'd be like going with IBM. You know, IBM's been around forever. It's expensive, but man, does it work. And good customer service, and boom, let's work with IBM. So they went with that. We're also, the whole platform is in the Microsoft startup group. I believe we're one of the few crypto-based startups that is in the Microsoft startup. So all of our stuff is hosted on Azure servers, and we're getting, you know, reasonably good access with Microsoft. So there is, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's people cringing on the stream because of, ooh, Microsoft, but it's like, well, they have really good servers, and we're getting them at a, you know, we're getting a good value for our users because of that. We do a meshed server structure. So even if there was 1,000 avatars here, though they're not loading in for us. They're doing their thing. We're over here doing our thing. And when we come close enough, then we start loading in for each other, and you know, and having that performance cost of having those other avatars. For me, the thing of having a maximum of 35 or 40 or maybe even 50 in some alt space places is kind of, I don't know. I have to say a quick story. We had Nathi and some other sort of VR celebrities. We did a party in alt space. You go to the thing, and there's the avatar of the person you're expecting to interact with, and you're like, hey, and they totally ignore you because you're not actually in the room with them. You can see them, but they can't see you because the room has done multiple instances that the key, you know, the host is in all of the rooms, speaking out into the crowd of all of the rooms, but only the crowd in the prime room, in room number 1, can actually get the host's attention and be like, hey, I got a question. Can you tell me about why you did such and such? And so here we totally sidestep that whole project and say, hey, how many avatars do we have here? We could have 50 of them right standing in front of us, all listening to our conversation. And if another 3 came, oh well, we have the server capacity for it. So yeah, those are, you know, that's some of what we're thinking. And as far as excuse me, As far as microtransactions, clearly Ethereum or Bitcoin or any of these bigger, older, more established chains aren't ideal because of the transaction cost. So if I want to buy that t-shirt off you, or you want to buy my shoes or something, you know, ideally in the future we'll be able to like, hey, I like your shoes, and you're like, hey, click, look, I can, and it's got a little click button, I can click and say, yes, I'd like to buy. So we've got strategic alliances with some of the more gaming centered coins and chains that are going to come online in the future, and those will allow for these really micro level transactions of where it's literally pennies or $1 or something going back and forth. And so you'll be able to earn, you'll be able to spend, you'll be able to buy. There's going to be a full marketplace, asset store. You'll be able to mint, you know, if you're a good person in Maya or Blender, you can create objects, upload them to the asset store, and sell them just like Sketchfab, but for in-game.
Yeah, that's that's definitely, I would say, an added value to being a part of this, because you do jump in early enough, you have, like, you either hone your skills or you are a budding artist, creator. Yeah, at some point you can capitalize or create value for yourself through that. Coming down to the last question, you know, how do you market the future? How do you, because you can see it, you know where this is going.
Yep.
But it's so hard. It can be hard to get other people to see it, you know, to be more future thinking, and I'm just curious to learn more about your experience about that. How do you market the future? How do you get people to see what you see and get excited about it, you know?
I mean, I think ultimately you can lead as many horses to as much water as you want, and if they're not thirsty, they're not going to drink. My parents are fabulous, wonderful, amazing human beings, and they kind of pat me on the head and go, oh, that's nice, dear, that's nice. They don't care. They literally don't care about this because it doesn't bring them any value. But if you're a person who's into technology, interested in the future, interested in blockchain, interested in socializing when we're in lockdown, then now we've got use case. And we try and build everything here tries to come from a use case first. So for example, we use Ethereum blockchain to transfer land back and forth, because, you know, this property right now, I don't know what it's worth, you know, but quite a bit more than I paid for it, shall we say. And I wouldn't care at all about a $22, you know, gas fee to send it to you if you wanted to buy it. And so, but if I want to sell you a bracelet or an earring or a tattoo or something small, then that needs to be very, very, very low friction, very fast, very low cost. And so those are the ways we're working on that. And then as far as selling the future, the only thing I can bring to it is my own excitement, my passion, you know. And my headset is pressing on my nose and making me sound funny, but, you know, I have to be keen, and I try and bring that keenness and that excitement to my conversations on Discord, to my conversations on Twitter, to my conversations in the Metaverse, if I'm on some other platform. And if somebody gives me an opening, then I'll bore them to tears with it. But I mean, you've seen this too, I'm sure you know this. You have to be super, like, attentive, and as soon as they start to switch off, you're like, oh, done. Anytime you want to know more, talk to me. Mm-hmm. And then you just go back to listening to them about what they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, I mean, you and I can go off on this for hours.
Yeah, quite literally. And with that, Sacha LeBaron, you, sir, are always a pleasure to talk to. You're a true scholar and gentleman of virtual reality. And any parting thoughts? Any last thoughts before we bring things to a close? Anything you want to say to the audience?
You guys are awesome. Represent. Thank you for being part of this, building this. We're all pioneers. These are all beta, bleeding edge alphas and betas. The stuff that's coming down the pipe is going to, I mean, you've seen the Unreal Engine, the virtual human stuff, the, you know, Apple with an 8K HMD for $3,000. I'm up on the pre-order list for the deck of gear, which is, I believe a 4K display. So stuff is coming. The future is coming. It's going to go. AR is coming. A lot of this stuff is going to start overlapping with AR. So yeah, it's a brave new world. It's all made of people, and join the Discord. It's discord.gg/Somnium Space, right? Like it says on his t-shirt. We're friendly. Come and join us. Anyone welcome. Hit me up on DMs or Twitter. I'm at @LeBaron on Twitter. You can hit me up there, chat, whatever you want, follow. It's all, we're all part of it. And that's why I joined. So full disclosure, I started listening to his podcasts back in the day when I was just a noob and he was way out ahead. And now now here we are, we're chatting. So you on the podcast, if you are interested and passionate and this stuff grabs you, join a Discord, join a group, join a community, get on Twitter, jump in, get involved, and you'll find a place for you. Because it's open. It's totally open. Look, there's nobody here yet. We're here. We're ahead of the curve, and it is challenging to sell it, but the feeling, as I said before, the feeling, and I really invite you to take one time, come back and climb one of the mountains and watch the moon rise, and just sit there and have a cup of tea in real life and watch the moon rise, and it'll blow your socks off, totally, because the feeling is here.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah, thanks again, man. This has been fun. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better.
Yep.
So, thanks for watching.
And
thanks for
Avatar
listening.
Collisions.
Avatar Collisions, that as well.
Avatar Collisions. Think about Avatar full body tracking. It's coming. So Avatar Collisions, here, I'm going to invade his personal space. So Avatar Collisions, boom, with a haptic vest, boom, pat on the back, boom, boom, boom. It's coming, right?
Yeah.
It's coming. And it's going to be primitive at first, but it's coming. And Tesla suit is out there, 15 grand, but it's coming. It's going to come down. Haptic gloves coming. It's all coming.
It is. It's only going to get better. Thanks again for watching, listening, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.